This is TWiT.
There's some cool family bell stuff where it's like, hey, it's time for school to start, or like, here's a note for everybody that you can do on the Nest Hub.
Yep.
But
oh man, the family bell stuff saved us during the COVID lockdown. That was like, we relied on it. Every day we had multiple bells going off. And I actually just set one today because our youngest daughter, you know, she has a journal that she has to write in, and it gets handed in on Thursdays. And we forgot to do it this week. So I was like, all right, so I'm setting a family bell every Tuesday and Wednesday at 5:15, because I know we're all going to be kind of like working on dinner and everything. 5:15, a reminder will go out and it'll say, hey, Savannah, you need to finish your journal. It's due on Thursday. Family bell's awesome. I'm happy you mentioned that, because that is one of my favorite features. We've used that to death, and we love it. I
feel so validated, because in my brain it's totally theoretical, and so like that is really cool. Does she like? It's like Google Assistant telling her to do it, though, right? Is that like dimension weird at all? Like that it's a technology, or does she just like, all right, just instead of it's like shut up, Dad. It's not that she would say that.
No, haven't encountered that at all. I mean, it's like an alarm clock on steroids, really, because it kind of does its little song, ding, 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 ding. And we all know what that song is now. We've heard it a million times. So that song rings, and it's like, that's like your wake up call, you're like Pavlov's dog. The song goes off, and we're all like, wait a minute, shh, what is the reminder? And there's none of that as far as, them getting their question or their prompt from a device or anything like that. Plus, they're so used to, we've had Google Home devices in our house for years, since the beginning. And, my youngest daughter is 8, my oldest is 11. So literally most of their childhood, they've had a Google Home device to interact with, or they've seen us doing it. So it's really not anything that's strange or anything. It's just kind of part of what we have in our house. And it's used a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. Does the family bell go off for everyone, or you can like set it to just do their device, right? And I guess I'm curious.
Set it per room.
Okay. Was that like more useful for you essentially as much as it was for them to like get to time? It was like, you don't have to think about them getting to class on time. Like
absolutely 100%, because especially when we were doing full distance learning, we have 2 kids, and they're both doing their own distance learning things. And, when it was the full year, like there was COVID happened, and we had 3 months left in school year before summer.
Yeah.
And then after this, and that was just an S show. And then there was summer, and then there was the school year where everybody planned and knew that we were going to be doing distance learning pretty much the entire year. And so, they each had their full class roster, and as parents, we had to somehow manage that.
Showed up, yeah. It's like you don't go upstairs, and then they're just like playing games.
Totally. And and I also used it for me. Like once Family Bell released, our Family Bell list was huge, because I was like, all right, every Tuesday at 10 o'clock, editorial meeting, put that in there, and not 10 o'clock. It was always 9:58, because I don't want the reminder when the meeting started. I wanted it a couple of minutes before, and in the beginning, it would ring everything. And now they give you the ability. Was it everything, or it was just one room? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Now they give you the ability to select as many or as few as you want, so you can really customize it.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm so happy. I don't know why that has been like, I do think I guess I associated it with the Nest Hub and being like the central device, sort of, where you could see upcoming stuff too. But that just sounds super interesting, and exactly like the same thing. I was like, this sounds useful for kids, but like, I want this. Like, I don't have a schedule at all. And so it's just like, hey, get to work. And when you were talking about the sound effect, I always thought it was dumb that washing machines had those little jingles, but now it's like, dun, 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 oh, the laundry's done. Like, it's like a little Mario, like, here's your reward situation. So
exactly what that ding ding means. It's a very specific thing. Yeah, no, I mean, I love it. I use it. We even, every day our kids go to school, we have to submit a COVID like screening test. We basically have to, make sure that they're not showing any symptoms and, take their temperature, and we have to sign in to school and declare that before we ever take them into school. And, so I have a family bell for me and my wife that happens in the morning before we ever leave the house that says, "Have you done this yet?" And 9 times out of 10, we haven't. We're like, "Oh, right, we got to do that,"
Nice.
So, yeah,
I'm curious.
It's really useful.
I guess just a last thought is, how is that different than using alarms? Or is it from that centralization through the family and across rooms and stuff like that? Is that what's more useful for you?
I think it's different from using alarms, because usually when I think of alarms, I think of like a dumb notice, beep 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 beep,
yeah,
beep 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 beep, or or something like that. Or I don't know. There's something about the fact that I can personalize it, so I can say, "Savannah, you need to do your journal writing. It's due on Thursday." Instead of it being something very generic and basic,
like journal Thursday 3 p.m.
Or I don't know, like I don't. It is different. I think where I see more of a difference is that I could set up calendar reminders. I could go into my calendar and do all of this stuff, but totally. I am way less likely to look at my phone at just the right time and be like, "Oh, that's starting in 5 minutes." When I do it on Family Bell, like there's no mistaking it. It is loud.
Yeah.
And we know what the bell sounds like. And when it starts its siren song, like I listen, because I'm like, okay, what am I missing right now? And it helps. Like for I can be a little absent-minded at times, and it helps me to not be. So I appreciate that.
Fair. I'm interested. Yeah. I might have to set some up. I like it now. Like, I mean, I can, especially once you just get into having more people in the household, and you don't have to manage their schedule as much as your own too, and everything.
Yeah,
so I can
totally
see it, but that is cool. I love good smart home stories of like, no, this is actually like a big difference, and
that's a huge difference.
Stuff can be convenient, and that helps a lot too, but it is like, that's just like actually smart and not just like a quicker way to do something or something like that.
Totally.
So that's cool.
And it was a feature that came at just the right time and did exactly what I hoped it would do. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you hear about these things like, "Oh man, that's going to be the biggest, that's going to be such a huge," and then you use it and you're like, "Oh, but I wish it did this thing." It did exactly what we needed it to do, and it saved us. Like it totally saved us. It made things far easier. Yeah.
That's exactly. It's like I learned about it, but I would have no idea, and everybody would just use it and not like share about how awesome that is. They're just using it now. But that's cool to know. Well, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely.